With Vinland Saga Season 2 coming to an end, I'd like to share my thoughts on both Season 1 and 2, as well as tackle the big question, is Season 2 as good as Season 1? There's going to be a few minor spoilers here and there, but nothing that would ruin your experience if watching it for the first time. And if you haven't seen Season 1, or it's just been a good minute since you have, let's do a quick recap. The story revolves around a boy named Thorfinn, within a setting that takes place during the time of the Vikings in England, sometime around 1013 AD. His life is turned upside down when his father, Thors, also known as the Troll of Yom, is killed, and through his own choice to seek vengeance, Thorfinn places himself in a position where he can either starve to death or join the team of mercenaries that killed his father. Vengeance and hate completely consume his soul, and he spends almost all of his childhood to adolescent years killing enemies on the battlefield, immersing himself in his own bloodlust and striving to become stronger so that one day he can become capable enough of defeating the band of mercenaries' leader, Askeladd, in a duel.
How dare you! How dare you take a warrior like my father! I'll kill you! Do you hear me? I'm gonna kill you!
Askeladd, I think that's how you say his name. Anyways, pretty awesome stuff, huh? Truth be told, Thorfinn doesn't really have a lot of character development in Season 1. Don't get me wrong, he does have a little bit, but not much. Instead of growing as an individual, learning from his past mistakes, and having his mind changed and evolve the way that you'd expect a protagonist to do, he instead descends into an empty black void that's slowly becoming his heart, doubling down on his quest for vengeance and sinking deeper into hatred. Like, for example, the time he washed up in some nice old lady's backyard, her and her daughter nursing him back to health and even comb his hair for him, only for him to betray their trust and open an opportunity for Askeladd's band to raid and pillage the town, which leads to what looks like the sweet old lady as well as probably her daughter being killed. By the way, I think it was her daughter, or it might have been her granddaughter, whatever.
Hey, job well done, Thorfinn. It's a more prosperous village than I thought. There's no time to waste. Let's make short work of the place before the enemy troops arrive.
Thorfinn does try to get them to flee, he even begs them, but the most heartbreaking part is when he sees the old lady's face of sadness, and his response is to simply close his heart to it. Thorfinn is a broken human being, and he's been that way for the bulk of his life. So that fact that he doesn't really grow that much as a character isn't a criticism per se, because it makes sense within how the story unfolds. I guess you could argue that he grows an incredible amount with his skills as a warrior though. This lack of personal growth within the main character's life would normally hurt the story if not for the amazing cast of interesting supporting characters. I mean, Askeladd's cunning, Thorkel's intense desire for battle, and even Canute going from being just a helpless little chicken into a fully confident prince, all within just a few episodes. The supporting cast is awesome, and its characters keep you interested and always wondering in excitement what's going to happen next. But of course, the main selling point for a lot of people when it comes to at least the first season would be the combat. Each battle is broken down with purpose. They're extremely well animated, and because of the setting that they take place in, there's a real sense of danger in unknowing who is going to live and who is going to die. They really do act as the backbone for Season 1, which leads us to Season 2.
Fight your true battle until the bitter end! Fight to become something beyond a monster! A true warrior!
Season 2 really switches up the pacing, or should I say, slows things way down, almost to the point that it feels like a crawl. I mean, there is a slow build up toward the end, and there are a few parts of action and conflict scattered throughout, but for me it really does feel like I'm almost watching two different types of animes. One that's a loosely applied historical biography filled with battles, Vikings, kings, and political plots, and another that feels mostly like a slice of life, coming-of-age farming story. I'm not trying to say that that in itself is bad, but the shift feels pretty dramatic, and it took me a bit to warm up to Season 2 because of that. The good news is that Thorfinn finally gets a character development he's been needing. In fact, the entire season is focused on his new outlook on life. I mean, he goes full circle, coming from being this crazy psychopathic teenager killing everything in his path to a tree-hugging pacifist that wants to rid the world of slavery and violence, determined to use his words and fully embracing the philosophy of his father that a true warrior does not need a sword. Not bad, right?
A sword is a tool used for killing people. So then tell me this. Who do you intend to kill with a sword?
Our enemies.
And who is our enemy? Can you tell me?
Unfortunately, we get an all-new roster of side characters that aren't bad, but don't really hold a candle to their Season 1 counterparts. We've traded in Askeladd for Einar, and Thorkel for Snake, both of which are fine characters, but just can't carry the story in the same way. And I think that because of the new set of characters, as well as the lack of intense action scenes, makes Season 2 feel like it's kind of hit a wall. So much so that whenever Thorfinn actually does get involved in some sort of physical conflict, I freak out and jump for joy, only to then be kind of let down once it's over, knowing that those scenes come few and far between. I mean, there's nothing wrong with characters just farming and talking and showing different forms of conflict, like inner conflicting thoughts and emotions, but Season 1 weaved inner conflict with outer conflict. It was filled with real danger and the stress of life, which then caused characters to reflect internally, leading to battles within their hearts and minds. It's this lack of outer conflict in Season 2, as well as the cast of supporting characters not measuring up to those in Season 1, that ultimately leads me to answering the question, is Season 2 better than Season 1? No. No, it's not.
Looks like I have found you!
I like Season 2, a lot in fact, and there are some scenes that not only hold up to Season 1, but even outshine them. It's just, when comparing the two overall, I feel Season 1 is far more entertaining and just has a lot more going for it. One last thing I have to mention though, something that I began to really notice on my second watch. I'm actually really surprised at how well different ideas of spirituality is weaved in and out of the story. On the one side, you have the faith of the Vikings, which focuses on getting into Valhalla by dying a warrior's death. And on the other side, you have Christianity, which is all about making peace with your enemies and learning to forgive those who have wronged you. Both sides have individuals who are devout, as well as those who have simply adopted the religion because of their culture and don't take very seriously their own beliefs. Seeing these two polar opposite religions clash in the ancient world would be interesting enough, seeing as how Hollywood would never actually have the balls to faithfully tell a story like this today. In addition to that, though, seeing Thorfinn go from one of the extremes to the other, not so much so in the ideas of the afterlife and spiritual elements, but more so in his lifestyle, it makes him all the more interesting a protagonist. I mean, we even get a scene in Season 2 where Snake is reading out of one of the Gospels while Thorfinn is listening outside the window. How cool is that? I mean, seriously, try finding anything remotely close to that coming out of Western entertainment today. But I suppose I'm going to call the video there, guys. Have you checked out Season 2 of Vinland Saga? Or have you not even watched Season 1 yet? Although I believe Season 1 is still better than Season 2, I think they're both pretty great, and I'm excited to see where we go from here. So I would highly recommend checking them both out. Also, if you're a filthy dub watcher like me, then you should know that there's actually two different types of dubs that have been made. Why is that? I don't know, but I'd recommend the one that says Sentai. Sentai? Something like that. It says it at the end of it. The voice actors just sound better, that's all. If you like this vid, please remember to hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. And as always guys, thanks so much for watching and have a great freaking day.